All right, I'm here. I'm Chef Mary Moran. It's been years, and I have continued with motherhood, gotten through the pandemic, had dogs, had puppies, and I have a couple of loves. One that is teaching cooking classes for the people of Los Angeles, and also I love YouTube videos. But of course, I haven't had time to do it, or I have been hiding behind the fact that I'm not 20 anymore. I used to be so young when I started this. Actually, I was 22 when I started these YouTube videos. Can you believe that? 22. And I made them for a really long time, and they were so fun. They were so exciting. And then all of a sudden, boom, I stopped. Lots of things happened, and I never got back in the groove of it. And so when I started teaching again, I decided it was time to start making web videos again, which is what I'm doing here today. I have this new segment that's called What's in My Kitchen, and I'm going to do things and cook things and prep things that are in my kitchen. So today, because we're in the middle of August, zucchini is just wildly present in the grocery stores, and it's very cheap. It's really delicious, and it's so versatile. It can be put in any dish. So I'm going to show you a few different ways to cut up a zucchini, and per the usual. I love just going with the flow. So if you're watching, if you're here, welcome, and let's cut up some zucchini. All right. So because I'm on my computer, I'm going to pan down so you guys can see my beautiful zucchinis that actually have quite a few scratches. And I have my favorite new knife that my mom sent me. It's a Hinkle's International. It has this really nice flat side. And so the first thing that you're going to do with the zucchini is you're going to trim the edges. Now, depending on what you're making with your zucchini, you need to think about how you want to cut it. If you're going to do a ratatouille, then potentially you're just going to cut it into small circles. And you're just going to lift your knife. Zucchinis always get so stuck and sticky to your knife. So just be aware, take them off, throw them to the side. And you're just going to cut them all. Now, these seeds are really kind of thin and not very noticeable, so I wouldn't worry about taking them out. But if they bother you, if they get really big and bulbous, like the ones in squash, you can always remove them from the squash prior to cutting them up. But we'll do squash a different day. All right, so these are our circle cut zucchinis. They're so pretty. And we'll just stack them up all nice and neat. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, let's say you want to do zoodles, which kind of came out a couple of years ago, the zucchini noodles that you can use in place of pasta when you're making spaghetti. Again, you're going to trim the edges. And with this, I like to have control of what I'm cutting. So I do cut it in half. Some of you might want the noodles to be longer, and in that case, you don't have to cut them. You don't have to cut it in half, but just know that it will be more challenging to cut up. So what you're going to do is you're going to make multiple thin slices throughout the zucchini. You're going to put the larger flat end to the cutting board and the smaller cut end top. Now, if these start getting in your way, you just take them off, put them to the side, and you continue cutting until you can't go any further. The next thing I like to do is take off the part that has the skin so that I have better control. And then I'm going to use my knife And I'm just going to make really thin slices. Now, in the French cooking world, we would call this a julienne. But nowadays, you can call them zoodles. Now, some of you out there have probably the zoodles machine, which makes beautiful curly Q noodles, and that is fantastic. And I salute you for having that gadget in your house, but I have too many things in my house, and I can just stick with slicing up the zucchini. Aren't they pretty? They're so pretty. I love how the green pops out from the white. It's just really cool. And what I always tell the kids that I'm teaching, or adults, never look and see what you're chopping. You want to focus your eye on behind the knife where your fingers are, and don't worry so much about the front of your knife and what you're cutting. And this helps ensure that you don't cut yourself. I mean, I'm not saying you won't cut yourself, but it's always a possibility. But the more you practice, the better you get, the less likely you are to cut yourself. Now, that's beautiful, gorgeous. I love it. Those are some strips. Now we take the other half. Of course, if you wanted a full dinner of zoodles, then you would just continue on with this. But if you're done and you want to move on from there, that's totally great. The next thing you're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make long sticks, long grilling sticks. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut it in half, and then you're just going to cut it into thirds. But do you see how I've cut that into kind of a cheese shape? So you're going to cut it so you get a cheese shape there, and then you're going to roll that and cut it through again. So what you should have are 3 really nice wedges. So again, you're going to start your zucchini on the side. You're going to make your initial cut, and then you're going to roll it and make your next cut. So you're cutting the zucchini into thirds, but these always make really nice grilling pieces. And if you didn't cut the zucchini in half, this would be terrific in a whole length form. So those are my grilling pieces and what to do. So we've got circles, we've got zoodles, we've got nice little wedges, and we'll move on to stuffing, which this one's really a no-brainer. But maybe if you're out there and you've never stuffed a zucchini before, you don't know what to do. So a zucchini usually curves. And when you are stuffing the zucchini, you want to make sure that you have as flat of an area for the zucchini to lie on as possible. So you can either do one or two things. One, you can make a narrow cut on the side so that it actually has a flat piece to sit on, or you can look at the zucchini and figure out which sides the zucchini naturally rests on. So I can see that this zucchini is naturally resting on this side, which is awesome, because that means when I'm cutting it, I'm going to cut it straight through the middle, right here. And once I'm finished, the zucchini should lay flat. Perfect. Now, as you can see, this one's a little bit rocky, totally annoying. So what we discussed just a second ago, you can just take your knife and make a little bit of a cut so that when you place the zucchini down, it holds its shape and it doesn't rock back and forth. Actually, I'm going to do it with both of them. This one's a little more tricky, and it's not going to look like the other one. It's going to be a little bit longer, but those are nice and flat now. And they're nice and solid. It would have been nicer if these were both kind of the same height, but as I was cutting it, I was kind of just playing around with it. Now, next you're going to grab your spoon and you're going to think about what you're stuffing. Now, if you're going to use something that's like a meat, and you want to fill the entire thing, then absolutely scrape out the entire middle all the way up to the green, so that you're creating kind of a nice boat, right? Because we know we're going to have a lot of ground beef, and we know that we're going to be filling it to the top. And so we're going to take out all the seeds. And when you come to the end that's actually been trimmed or cut, please keep a little bit of kind of a indentation right here with an edge, so that you keep the ground beef and the oil inside of the zucchini. That is really helpful when you're trying to scoop in some ground beef or chicken or black beans, anything of that nature that can get a little saucy and messy. Now, this one I scooped pretty well, not going all the way to the bottom. The other one, I'm going to say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do breadcrumbs and a little Parmesan cheese and maybe a little bit of sauteed onions and throw it in. But the main dish is basically the zucchini. This is just going to be a little bit of a crunchy topping. And in that case, what you're going to do is you're going to do scoop it out, but not very much. Maybe you'll just get out those few seeds, and then you'll call it a day, right? So you have two different variations. One's really deep for something saucy, like ground beef or black beans, or like a chicken enchilada that you wanted to cook inside of the zucchini instead of having a taco shell. And the other one you're going to use for breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, a little bit of couscous. So you want the zucchini to be the actual main course of the meal, whereas the zucchini that holds the ground beef, that is just going to be the vessel that holds those things. Now, we've done a great job. I've done it in about under 15 minutes. We've got our julienne zucchinis. We've got our round zucchinis and our grillable zucchini pieces. And of course, our zucchinis that are filled for stuffing. So that's pretty exciting. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back tomorrow, and then I'll be back on Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, take the weekends off. So if you have any ideas, any thoughts, any exciting, things to say, shoot it my way. If not, I will see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.